Hello and welcome to another episode of Becoming Enchanted with the Rustic Spirit. Tonight, I have a special co-host. We all know John. John Covey is here with me to help me tonight to co-host. I love having him on. John, thank you for being here with us.
Of course, it's always exciting to be on.
Yes, and if anybody wants to check out Medium John Covey, like I know you guys that have been watching and have been on here, you know John, you know what he can do. But check him out on Facebook at Medium John Covey, and go get a reading from him. He is amazing, like
Thank
absolutely
you.
amazing.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna get some housework done, John, or housekeeping. Oh, is that what it's called? Housekeeping,
Housekeeping.
housework, housekeeping, paying the bills. All right, so we are becoming enchanted with the rustic spirit. We are live on Thursdays on both YouTube and Facebook, but you can find us in your car or in your ears or wherever you listen to your podcast. Spotify, iHeart, Apple. I believe we're on Amazon Music and anywhere you can find podcasts, you can pretty much find us. So please check us out. Go give us a follow on some of those other places. I'm going to ask everybody, please go over to YouTube and give us a follow on Becoming Enchanted, because I'm trying to build that YouTube channel. That is where I would like to direct the show in the future. But I keep going here on Facebook because this seems where we get most of the views. So let's see who's in the comments with us tonight. And then I'll go back to the slides. We have Damien here. Good morning. Looking good. Thank you. I did a little too much. I was telling John before we started, my makeup's I did a little too much eye tonight. Like I either need to be closer or far away. Jenny Schaefer is here. Hi, Jenny. It's nice to see you. And then Jenny Davis is here, and she says, "Where's Gary?" Gary's in bed. Gary is sleeping. He is probably not. He's starting night shift soon, and he's probably not no longer be on the podcast. And this is probably Debbie because it says Deb's 89. So it's good to see you, Debbie. Amanda is here. Hi, Amanda. I got Raven right behind me. I know Amanda loves Raven. So my dog is here. So if you hear barking or craziness, it's her. So I'm going to bring the slides back up and finish the housekeeping. So our and these are out of order. So here we go. Snarly Yow, historically cryptid West Virginia, snarlyyow.com. He is one of our sponsors. He hosts events. He also makes woodworking. Please go check him out at snarlyyow.com. His next event is Rats and Reapers. This is August 23rd at Thick and Thin Brewery in Hagerstown, Maryland. I'm going to tell you, there's going to be hearses there. There's a car show. There is going to be a lot of cryptid type oddities vendors. I'm going to be there. Jeff, who is our next sponsor, is going to be there. It is going to be an amazing event. So please try to make it out there if you're in the area. Jeff from Jeff's Traveling Boards, they are hosting a Maine Paranormal and Horror Con September 6th and 7th. And in Maine, I think it's Augusta, Maine, at the Civic Center. It is going to be a great event. I need to get a new slide up with all of their special guests because there's so many cool special guests. I'm super excited to meet and see, that's the name that went out. My dyslexia went out of my head, but it's Freddie, one of the Freddies. I'm super excited to meeting. So get your tickets right now because if you buy your tickets, and I know over the weekend they just had this ticket blast. So get your tickets now. The general admission pass online is only $25. It goes up at the door. So do all of the other tickets. You have your weekend pass for $40, your VIP ticket for $60, and then your VIP weekend pass with a dinner party, which has music and bumping all those elbows and food, and it's all going to be horror themed food. Like I've been talking to them about the menu and what they're going to do. It seems really, really cool. And then Patty Negri is going to be here, who is going to be in our podcast next week as part of the Creepin' It Real Festival podcast. John, I'll need you next week too, by the way. Did I tell you that?
No, you did not. I will put that in my schedule.
I thought I told you that because we're promoting the Creep It Real. I thought we talked, but it probably talked when it was hot at Penhurst and it was none of us were thinking correctly.
I don't think so.
So, all right, speaking of the Creep It Real, this is our next, and I'm losing my light. So we're going to turn it on now because as the light goes off, oh, it is going to get really bright for a second, guys. Hold on. There we go. So, Creeping It Real Festival. I know there was some drama this week and things were going on. Shauna went live and she talked about some of the things that are happening with the Creep It Real. Originally, the festival was supposed to be at in the town of Loretto, where the house is, where the Doss house is. There and at the community center, but there was just some pushback from the local community and not feeling like accepting of paranormal or what they call what I think they believe they said demon chasers. So it was kind of pushed out. And luckily, right down the street, about 10 minutes, is the old jail in Evansburg. And they are run by Lurking Spirits. So they have moved locations for the vendor event to the old jail. And now we have more room. And now there is space and it's huge. So they are have reopened and accepting vendors again with more space. So PM the Doss House on Facebook or email them at the Doss House 278 at gmail.com for details. You don't want to miss out on this. This is going to be really cool now. I actually really like that it's going to be at the jail. I'm actually super excited about that. So here are some of the special guests. John and I are both on this flyer. We are going to be special guests. And so his mother, Debbie, Patty Negri, Ernie Atwell, Santiago Cirillo, Larissa Rex, Beth O'Brien, Kelly Miller, Irene, Paranormal Theory, Corey Mason, the Blue Bodie, Michael Castro, and Heather. I don't know how to say her name.
Matarazzo.
She's been in a lot of movies, but most people know her from The Princess Bride. So
Princess Diaries.
Princess Diaries. Sorry,
Yes.
Princess Diaries. Thank you for correcting me. So I'm very excited about that. Are you excited about the festival, John?
I am. I will tell you. So Amanda is going to be coming with me, me and Mom, and she is super excited because Heather Matarazzo was also in Scream, and so she's a huge Scream fan. So she's very excited to go to the show and meet her and hang out and be inside of an old jail.
I know. I'm so excited. I want a jail cell. I'm going to do Reiki in a jail cell. I'm so excited about that. But tonight is not about the Creep It Real. That is going to be next week. We're going to talk all about it. We're going to have some of the special guests on here live. And Amanda says she's fangirling hard. So you want to be on the podcast next week, Amanda. You guys want to be on. You want to be watching. So tonight we have, okay, so earlier I was trying to voice text, and instead of saying Jeff and Trey, I said Chef and Dre.
Oh my.
Because I this is my dyslexia. I mix up the words.
Yeah.
So we have Jeff and Trey Bader from My Haunted Manor. We had Daryl Marston on a couple months ago, and he's like, "You guys got to get these guys on." And I'm like, I love the manor. The one My Haunted Manor USA. I think there's a couple of them, but this is the one near me in Columbia, and I've been there and had my own experiences there, and I'm so excited to have them on and what they're doing, and I love how they do their show. Right now they're on YouTube, but I know they're getting ready to come on some streaming services. So let's just play a little intro to show you guys who we're having on tonight.
Welcome to My Haunted Manor USA.
Do you want to investigate My Haunted Manor USA?
Part of the My Haunted Project, filmed right here in the Samuel Miller Mansion in Columbia, PA.
That door just moved. It opened up.
With 24-hour surveillance monitored by professional paranormal investigators.
Did you see that?
What do you see, Spooky?
You experience it.
We'll capture it live.
Oh my God.
There was just a loud bang. What was that?
Real people with real experiences.
What the was that? Out of the corner of my eye, I just saw a shadow really quick.
It's been a good experience every single time.
I would definitely come back again.
2025 is going to be an epic year for the My Haunted Project.
You know, we're just getting started.
We weren't able to explain this. We think this is actually something paranormal.
You guys? Stop. No, we got it.
Watch.
Dude, there's shit going on in here.
What? You hear that? Tell me who you are. I don't have to. Is that you?
Look at that, man.
Dude, that goes just like that.
We got an amazing season for you guys coming up. Dive way more into the history here. We're going to find out more about what's in the basement, who these kids are running around, get spooky out and about more in the manor, have some more spooky cam running.
This is what a paranormal project is really about. Being here for years and getting the people involved.
Hopefully you guys come out here for yourselves and experience this place firsthand because it's unlike any other place.
This is My Haunted Manor, USA.
So this is right outside of my hometown, and I'm super excited to have these on. And I cannot wait for other people to go and check this place out. So without further ado, let's introduce Jeff and Trey. Hi, guys.
What's going on?
Hey, Stacey, John. Thanks for having us.
Well, thanks for coming on. Like, I fangirled a little bit when Daryl came on. And the same way, I'm nervous. That's why I was like, John, I can't do this by myself. I need someone with me. But just, I'm just so excited, like what you guys are doing there, and like watching the videos and watching the stuff. Like, you host these public investigations, and there's cameras rolling all of the time.
Yeah.
So you're catching stuff that, most investigators don't catch. It's not like you're trying to record something. You're trying to find something. It's just like, okay, whatever happens.
Yeah, I'll be at the grocery store and get an alert, human motion detected in the kids' room.
Right.
And, we check and, we're pulling clips, when we're not even there. And yeah, it's crazy stuff.
So it's running even when you don't have investigations, it's running all the time.
Yeah, always. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's the benefit of this format. It's just always constantly recording, and we now have 16 cameras, so we have like full coverage.
Yeah, and the stuff we're getting since we got these new cameras in is just blowing our minds. Like the first season we got some incredible stuff, but this second season, still to come, is some amazing evidence.
I know I was there, I want to say, what was that, February, March. I was there in March. And I know it was very intense. It was just a very intense location. So reading your bios, and you guys kind of were born into this paranormal stuff, weren't you?
Yeah, definitely.
Tell us a little bit about that. How did you get into the paranormal?
Yeah. Well, I'm Jeff Bader. I'm the older brother. And, I just growing up, my mom, our mom was really into the paranormal and, was sensitive to things. And we just kind of grew up in a house that had a lot of activity. And we just, the ghost hunters and everything, we just kind of grew up on all of that, and wanted to someday make this, what we did full time. And it's, that's what we're really, really close to making that happen.
Yeah. And then about 2020, I joined Diamond State Ghost Investigators. Was just putting out feelers. I was like, it was during COVID. I was tied up in the house and just kind of, wanted to see if I could get on a team. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. Sorry. Hold on.
What just happened?
My dog's in my purse. It's got all my credit cards and all everything.
God, ew.
It's never a dull moment. Raven always has to get the spotlight.
Real people, real experiences.
Yeah, right.
She ate my money.
Oh my God.
Ate your money?
Yeah, she ate my money.
That's hilarious.
Look, I don't keep much cash. I have a couple ones, but that's how my show runs. This is real. We're raw. We're live. This is life. I don't try to be professional. We try to have fun. And oh my goodness.
Is that the money you're going to pay us for appearing
She ate
on
my
the show?
Kohl's cash.
Oh, my dog ate it.
My dog ate my dog ate them.
I'll still use it.
You shouldn't have put them in the peanut butter. I don't know. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No,
just remember, Stacey, you wanted a puppy.
Yeah.
Puppy cam.
I did.
Dogs are great.
I did. I did. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. You're in the middle of talking about something. And then that
No,
happened.
no, you're
Hell out of
good.
me.
You're good. I know. Yeah, I didn't know what was going on. Yeah, I was saying I joined Diamond State Ghost Investigators here in Delaware about 2020. That's a team that does, Fort Delaware, all the public tours in October. And it was, just such an amazing experience, all the people and doing that. And about a year later, got Jeff on board. And then what was it last year? Daryl Marston came out, and that's when we met him, interviewed him, and here we are.
Yeah, because you guys are all from Delaware, correct?
Right. Yeah.
So how did you end up? And I'm going to, Damien, I'm going to get to your questions. Damien's from the UK, and he's been watching you guys for a while, so he kind of
nice.
Some of those things as correlations. But how did you end up in Samuel Miller? Like, I know the history. I know the history of the town of Columbia. I've done a lot of things in Columbia. How did you end up there?
We were looking at a lot of spots. Some Gettysburg. We wanted to be kind of like an hour and a half from our spot in Delaware, or closer. And Daryl knew the owners, and I think we lucked out with it being so active, and the owners just being so on board with the project and are just loving what we're doing. And it's hard to find that that combination.
These are very much like partnerships with the owners, what we're doing here. And
she's amazing, because you guys do not own the location. You guys are the team that runs the investigations.
Yep. So it's Amy and Rowdy, and couldn't ask for a better pair of owners to be partnered up with doing this. And the story and the history of the manor in Columbia is just incredible. And this
there's
format,
a lot of history in this area.
Much.
People don't highlight it enough.
Right.
Columbia is underrated.
Myself and somebody else, I'm not going to mention any names yet, we're working on a project to do some filming in the area too. So just to bring some, like, York was going to be the first capital. Lancaster has a lot of Civil War, a lot of mafia, a lot of because anything over that side of the bridge is Lancaster, by the way. Like, we don't like on this side of the bridge, because I'm on this side of Susquehanna. It's all Lancaster over there.
Where are you at?
Town names. I'm in York.
Near Wrightsville.
Oh, you're in York. Okay.
I'm not quite. It's York County. I'm near Wrightsville, outside of Helena.
Also close.
Yeah, Mount Wolf actually is the town I live in. So
okay. Is that over near Boobies?
No, Boobies is closer to you.
Or is that Mount Joy?
Yeah, that's Mount Joy.
Yeah.
Mount Wolf is where the governor of Pennsylvania lived at one point. But we had troops come through here 2 days before the Civil War as they were heading to Gettysburg, and there's a lot of history around here, but a lot of pushback, kind of like what's happening with the Doss House and stuff. Like a lot of pushback from some of the town folk.
Yeah, and then we run into that too with any location that's kind of like state owned. They just don't want to lean into the paranormal stuff too much. It's kind of
not far from Samuel Miller, right on the other side of the bridge, right outside of Wrightsville and Helena is the Union. We call it the Union Hotel, but that whole land there, which is now a state park, the state bought the land, and it's a state park, so they bought that house and they've been renovating it. But there's a lot of history in that house too, right near the Cadorus furnace. So
it's just littered with it. The whole area. And that's what we're trying to do. Our goal is to tell the true history of these locations and these towns, and I think we're doing that.
Right.
We're mixing, historical facts and data with paranormal research and evidence that we're collecting, and getting the true story told.
So Damien says that any correlation be recorded from both locations communicating with each other. So maybe you should talk about the different locations you have.
Yeah,
John,
sure.
I'm sorry, you're not talking very much.
You're good.
Hey, John.
What's going on, John?
I'm good. How are you?
So the My Haunted Manor USA is the kind of the US spinoff, sister show to My Haunted Hotel in the UK. My Haunted Project is kind of the overall umbrella for US and UK. but Daryl went there for a night and just did an event there and ended up on one of the episodes. And he loved the format, like, loved the guys over there. And he's like, how do we do this in the US? And because it's an interesting take on it. It's, it's a unique spin, being this long form, investigation, just, one location over years, seeing trends. And then I think, the biggest part for me is bringing in teams and, working with different teams, seeing the different styles and different, investigation methods and, experimenting with different stuff.
Yeah. It's real people, real experiences. And that's what we feature. We're kind of just the presenters, most of the evidence that is on the show is caught when guests are there. It's caught by guests and we're just presenting it.
Yeah.
So they're the stars, of the show.
But I can't think of anything that correlates to both. When Danny first came over to help us set up the manor, he brought over his Paracast, which is kind of a unique system that runs white noise and through filters comes out with these voices. But he in the UK designed this with British phonetics, so he brought it to the US and tried it for the first time, and all these American voices come through, and we've had a racial slur come through, like things that are tied to the Underground Railroad and the Civil War era. So it's just very interesting. They took some stuff from the manor to the hotel, some articles of clothing and different things, an old flag. So we haven't seen anything that correlates.
I think I don't know. They noticed that when it's when there's a lot of precipitation, they seem to get a lot of activity, and we've noticed that too. We've picked up on that.
Yeah, there's similar trends that we've picked up.
Yeah.
But nothing recorded that was like a.
Nah.
So
I mean, any other
true. That thing on so Ron and Lourdes, who run the digital seance, they've been to the manor a bunch of times, and the Staticom. Yeah, so that's exactly right. So there was a Staticom.
It's not called Staticom anymore.
Or the digital seance experience.
Yeah, it's the TDSE.
Love those guys.
Yeah, that had Danny Moss come through, so that was interesting.
That was weird. Yeah.
It said something like Danny Moss speaks for England, and Danny Moss is, he runs the UK hotel.
There was another thing that I noticed too. They just opened up, a few months ago, Pendle Hill, their, other location in the UK. And I watched an episode, and a guest had something crazy happen. Saw a flash of light in the room, and I heard her say it was right around 10:30, which is weird because 10:30 at the manor seems to be like the most active time.
It's like the window is open.
That's about when I had my experience. Yeah.
Wow.
So maybe there's something bigger with that. It's not just the manor. I don't know.
You always think of like 3 a.m. or midnight. 10:30.
Right. I mean, that was just one case, but it caught my eye.
There's something to it. Yeah, that's true. That's definitely a trend we picked up.
So John, your mom's more the numerology person. Is there something with 10:30?
Well, to me, I think it kind of correlates back to energy. So the way that I perceive it, I noticed that also with Selma Mansion too, is that it really depends on the energy of the room with other people that are there, because they bring energy in that can shift the environment and what you get as your experiences and such. And I've noticed that a lot of times when we have investigated at that location, it's roughly anywhere between 9 to 11 is when you start to get certain things, because they usually start a hair earlier than a lot of other locations do. And I've noticed that, especially the last time we did an event there, it's between 9 and 11 is usually when you start to get stuff, or super early in the morning. Super early.
I like what Peter just said. It's shift work town, and it is. We're in industrial. This is an industrial area.
True.
There is a lot of industries around here. This would be third shift town. Yeah, I guess it would be.
There's another potential explanation that we've uncovered. There was a really bad trolley accident in Colombia that we just found out about recently, a few months ago. And a bunch of people died, a bunch of people got hurt.
You didn't know about that?
Nah.
We heard about it, but
Yeah.
we didn't really
You
get
better-
into it until Medium.
Do you know Rick?
Bianca,
Do you know
bro.
Rick Fisher? I've been
Yeah.
on the tour, the trolley ride tour.
Rick Fisher does a tour?
Well, during the Alba Twitch Festival, he'll do a trolley
Okay.
ride tour, and I've
Mhm.
been on there, and we did and they talk all about that, and then at the end, like they drive really fast down the hill and like make us think
On
we're
a
gonna crash.
trolley?
That's
On a trolley, but
No
it's a
shit.
trolley on wheels now.
Yeah,
so
right.
it's not.
But
It's
still,
yeah.
when is that?
But we go to the graveyard. Alba Twitch this year is October 10th.
Okay.
We should do.
You
a
should partner with
collaboration on
them and
that.
do
Yeah, let's do
something.
that.
I would love to. Yeah,
Do
we know Rick.
something.
Rick came by. He helped us when we were digging in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's an amazing.
There's a lot of ties to that legend and what we're uncovering.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
And
but
he's part of that historical society there in Columbia.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah,
So-
Rick Fisher's a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
that's
Daryl.
big. Is Daryl in there?
Yeah. Hi,
boys.
Daryl.
What up, man?
The boys.
What did Daryl
I love
point?
Daryl. I was so scared of him at first. I was so scared of Daryl first. I'm like, oh, I'm so intimidated. But he's like the sweetest guy ever.
Yeah, yeah.
He's a good dude. We love Daryl.
Mhm.
That trolley accident, anyways, it happened right around 10:30,
Mhm.
which we found out.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting. And the burning of the
Mm-hmm.
bridge, which was a huge, energetic event
Right.
that
Mhm.
occurred in Columbia, the heart of it was right around 10 and 11.
Okay.
Mhm.
So that's two major
Yeah,
events with a lot of energy, a lot of trauma. Maybe that could tie into why activity spikes. That's kinda-
So do you think, and
just
I
a
got
thing.
complete chills, John, I can't wait to get you this area. Like, because I've felt it in the area. Like, do you feel like it created some type of vortex or portal for spirits to continue?
Mhm.
Because I mean, I don't know what they're called. The bridge isn't there anymore, but the things that hold the bridge
Yeah.
are still there.
Like
Like,
foundation pillars. Yeah.
yeah, the pillars are still
Mhm.
there for the bridge that burned.
Right.
So do you
It
feel like
burned
there's
and then it
things
was
coming back?
rebuilt, and
Mhm.
then that bridge was like wiped out by a hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just like screw it.
I heard a legend too. You might know this better than I do, Stacy. Did someone die and like when that bridge was getting built? Do you know? Is
In-
it, like some like horrible
in the concrete.
Yeah, in the concrete type thing. Like
I have not heard that legend, but I wouldn't
Yeah.
doubt it. Think of the timing it was like very well could have.
Yeah.
mhm.
That's what we think, about the manor too. Is just the manor has gone through so many different, iterations, different
Mhm.
factories and feed mills, and we only have one confirmed death that's in the building, one presumed, but we think a lot more have died in the building.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I picked up
Scott's
on
coming.
a lot of different stuff. So Scott says yes, died in the cement. Okay.
Shout
Okay.
out
Yeah,
to Scott. Shout out to Debbie, M2D2. See them in the comments.
Yes.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, huge
so-
supporters.
Yeah.
I talked to Daryl about this. I watched an episode of I forget what it was now, but it was over in Seattle, and it was talking a lot about the mafia and the what are they called? The people they steal and they put on ships and make them work on ships. There was a name for that.
Pirates.
I know it.
No, it wasn't.
I was going to say
it's-
pirates too, but I know what you're talking about.
I am the captain now.
Where's all the rum? But it was like it was a whole like trafficking type thing. where they would
Okay.
they would throw people, and the dungeons that are in the market house. Like
Mhm.
I wonder if that's some correlation with the dungeons, like because it was very similar. There was a very similar type dungeon over in like
Oh,
I
wow.
want to say it was Portland or something over in like the east.
Are
or
you
the
talking about
West Coast.
Shanghai tunnels?
Yes, Shanghai tunnels.
Mhm.
Yes, where they would take the people and they would. What are they called?
Yep.
What is the name I'm looking for?
I
but
mean,
would-
they were forced to work underground,
Mhm.
almost
they were
like
called
servants in order
Shanghai.
to.
Yeah, or they were Shanghai. That's what it was. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Says
yeah.
Stop wanting, stop wanting the dungeon. Russ, you've never been in the dungeons. I've been in the dungeons.
What's up, Russ? I think I met Russ too.
Yeah.
Russ runs a podcast. He runs on Monday nights, Compass of Curiosities, and I think in here he was asking to have you guys on. So you
Oh,
definitely
nice.
should go on his show. So
Let's do it.
For sure.
yes.
Absolutely, Russ.
Yes.
Let's do it.
definitely.
We've had some
yeah,
weird
so-
correlations within Colombia, though. Like, we've had Bianca Rose pick up on a 7 foot tall figure that has been also sighted at the market house in the dungeons and on the second floor.
Yeah.
Have you heard about that? That big, tall, lanky.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
The lanky. They call it. It's like a elemental type
Yeah.
creature. It's more of a creature.
She picked up on it, and it's the thing that was putting the hand on the girl's head. If you saw in the video, we think that's what that was. We don't think that it's tied to the doll. I think it could be Native American because the Susquehannock were supposedly 7 feet tall. They were like giants.
There's a lot. Yes, there's a lot there. And then
you know what? It's interesting that you mention a lot about like the Susquehannock with the natives and all the different elementals because I'm up in Williamsport and there's so much that would happen on the land. You had the Plum Tree Massacre that occurred, and like there's so many. It's similar down where you are, Stacy, where everything's kind of people like to keep a hush hush, but they always know that there are a lot of really active places all throughout, and it's not just ghosts. There's elementals. There's
well, you're on the river too, right?
Yeah.
You're on the Susquehanna. Yeah.
And the Susquehannocks were really big here too. Really big.
Yeah. And that hand going over that our guest said was shortly after we were digging up what looked like Native American artifacts. So
yeah,
maybe that kind of started up.
Wow.
Some like pounding stones and maybe some blade tips and just some different artifacts that we found. But we had reason to believe that there were graves possibly in the basement. We still think there could be. We're still working on different avenues. But we had a ground penetrating radar come in and scan and pick up 2 anomalies in areas where we had really high activity. We had voices come through that paracast saying, "Dig, I'm down here."
I do remember that
crazy stuff. Yeah.
So that's kind of that correlation that I'm talking about is we paired paranormal evidence research with hard scientific facts and data.
And
And
that's
that was
amazing.
kind of a breakthrough for us. That guy picking up on these anomalies in the ground where the same exact spots where we were hitting on every single piece of a device that we used down there.
And you guys are right. What I want to say, what are you like 100 feet from the river? Like, is that?
Yeah, it's close. And then the railroad tracks right there too.
And then the railroad track, that's a whole nother story.
It's wild. It's
so
and then when it rains, it's just like I feel like a thunderstorm there with the train, with the river.
Is there a well in the? So I've never been there, of course, but when you
and I was just going to ask about the history, and I didn't know if you wanted to know it, John. But go ahead.
No, I don't want to know the history, but I don't know why, and it is what it is. But they're taking me down a set of stairs. I go to the left, and I'm being like, I don't know if there is this well that's in the basement, but I feel like I don't know if it's still covered. I don't know why they're talking about this well, but I don't know if it has ties to the Underground Railroad. So,
do you see water? Are you seeing water, or are you seeing like a well covered?
It almost looks like it's a well, but maybe at this point of it seems like it's like a well, but
I know where he's talking about.
I know exactly what it is. Yeah,
but it's like I don't know if now there's trying to figure out. It's like when it rains, it fills up almost like a French drain at a house when it needs to be pumped out. It's like it fills up when it rains and then it goes away. And then if you really want to go down in there, it's almost like it was kind of like a tunnel or a passageway. Like you can get down in there. And I don't know what that is.
What's weird too?
You're talking about that back, like we come upstairs the basement to the left, and then that back area you have taped off.
The feed mill.
That's what I think you're describing.
But I mean, it could be right when you come down the steps. You said you go left. There's a secret room, we believe, right there that we want to get access to. We need to get like a structural engineer down there, to look at it. But
that would be cool.
Is there a lot of times like there's a young female that's down in the basement?
Yeah.
A young female.
Young female down the basement, and then there's like a lot of aggressive male.
Okay, she's the one.
Yeah.
She's the adventurer. She's the one that's kind of taking me to the different parts. So
Okay.
that's just really interesting.
That's awesome, dude. We need to get you there, John. You and
Oh yeah, we do.
The same
Yeah, we
sort
do.
of thing, Stacy. I don't know if you were watching. The same sort of thing happened when we had Kyle from White Hill Mansion come on.
Yes.
Where, do you remember that?
Yes.
So it's just very interesting. That's cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Todd and Camille said have there been any wow experiences we can look forward to in upcoming episodes, which on that note, I will show the clip that you gave us.
Yeah.
And then he wants to know how the doll is doing since you're solo.
The doll's good. That was an interesting solo. That was a lot of fun. That's something we want to do more of for sure, because it was just good. It was good. Everybody getting engaged and asking questions. But the doll, we've had some motion.
Yeah,
We
tell
have
us
a
about the
motion
doll.
detector go in there, and she's terrifying. Daryl picked her up in California. Her name's Baby Anne Boleyn. Her head is separate from her body, and we don't know what's tied to her yet. We're still trying to figure out. The very first night we brought her in, activity spiked. Trey was there by himself with guests.
That was the craziest night I've
Yeah.
ever had there by far.
That's a wow moment, I think. And I found a part of it in review. But if you want to go into a little bit without spoiling too much.
Yeah, I mean that was
a
I think it's the third episode in the
it's
second
ugly.
season. That is ugly. It's got bloody tears. Yeah, we had 3 guests come from the UK, and when we got the doll, I kind of just thought it was going to be a placebo effect. I didn't really think anything would be attached to it. It might not be, but they come in there, and around 1:00 in the morning, we're in the basement doing the paracast, and I see what looks like a naked woman hunched over, crawling across the floor, across the basement, and it was in detail. I saw skin tone, dark skin, black hair. And it was so wild, I just thought my mind was messing with me. So I kind of brushed it off. But 2 hours later, these girls saw the same exact thing on the second floor. And what we got?
Yeah, so Trey sent me some clips, and we did catch some little fragment. It looks like a form in it. And I looked into the kids' room, other angle of this doorway, and there's a piece of a shadow, but there's also like a claw mark in the rug. And like seeing that form and then disappear as the shadow goes by, it's like either I think we've debunked it as it's not like a push into the rug. I think it's actually a manifestation of the hand that we're seeing. And that was just like, that gave me chills.
So
like,
this thing's crawling around the manor.
It's on all fours, just like running around.
So do you think you brought it here with the doll?
So
Or
that's
did it
kind of what we were
invoke
trying to
something
figure
that
out.
was here? Yeah.
What we thought originally, and then we had some more evidence come forward, and possibly sightings of it before we even started the manor.
Yeah, way before.
I think I think it's before the manor was even there. I think it's tied to the land.
Yeah,
The land.
but we do have some crazy stuff coming up. This next episode, Todd and Carmela.
Some really good evidence.
Yeah, we have there's a lot of children activity that happened, and it happened after our Parakids event, which was our previous episode. So I'm thinking maybe the Parakids, bringing all the kids in to investigate, stirred the place up, with this childlike activity. We got a girl singing clear as day. I mean, wait till you guys see this.
Maybe Jody should look into their place for her SOS camp. She does an adolescent SOS camp and takes the adolescents around and teaches them how to investigate to different locations.
I think it's great. Yeah.
So this clip that you sent us, this is a teaser for the next episode.
This is just the piece of this evidence that we wanted to share with you guys.
Just a little appetizer. Let's
Okay. So do you want to tell us a little bit about it before I put it on? Or
So if you're playing the servants' quarters one first. So what happened was I was there on a Sunday till about 4:00, and I left. And later that night, I was going through the app for the cameras, and I saw less than 10 minutes after I left, we caught these footsteps in the servants' quarters, and then a child's voice. And then an hour later, we caught the loudest footsteps and another voice.
Okay, so that's the SQ footsteps, right? Is that the one? Okay,
that's the first one.
So let's look at that one real quick.
Did you hear that little voice?
Mm-hmm.
There's no one there?
Nah, no one was there. Yeah, you see me leaving, like, see how it says 16:35? I left around like 16:20, 16:25.
Okay, I'm going to rewind it because I need to.
Mm-hmm. It's like they wait till we leave, and then sometimes we get stuff when we get there. We've gotten, like, as soon as we got in the door, hey, they're back.
So that is footsteps we're hearing, right?
Mm-hmm. And these are the raw room camera clips. Like it's enhanced in the episode. But yeah, there's a child's voice in there too.
Yeah, you heard it. Like,
yeah, you'll hear it. But the next one is in the parlor, which is the loudest footsteps I've ever heard, and that was an hour after this. And we didn't give you guys a voice yet. That'll be in the episode, but right after these footsteps in the parlor, there's a voice up in the loft.
It's crazy.
Which is pretty crazy.
this is where I had my experience, because when I came in, I came late because I had an event, so I was late coming in, and Ron and Lourdes were already in their presentation, and so I just kind of, we had chairs in there, and they were up front, and right, this is the room that they would have done their presentation in.
Yep.
And I sit down there, and when I sat down, and I just like kind of blacked out, and I didn't hear anything we were saying, I didn't hear anything, like something came through me, and I don't want to give too much away because of John, but there was a man that came through, and I'm like got a whole image and everything of him. So when I talked to one of the girls, they said, yeah, that was so and so, and that sounds just like him, and it was pretty intense. So I don't know if that's
the parlor's underrated. I think.
Yeah,
more people should investigate the parlor.
Oh, I think so too, because that one, that was I got the strongest feeling in there, and then in the print shop.
Yeah.
So
because most people just use it as like a base camp. They leave the lights on, put all their stuff down, and don't really investigate it.
Yeah, that's the one confirmed death that's in the building. Samuel Schock in the 1800s had his funeral in that parlor.
And that's who I picked up on. That's what they told me. They were like, yeah, that's who it is. And so I saw it all, and I saw that a woman crying, and I saw all of this stuff, and it was very intense for me. I almost went into like this trance type of thing when I was sitting there. So let me add that to the stage, and we'll look at this one. This one's we're listening for footsteps, correct?
Yeah, you'll hear very clear.
Okay.
No one's there.
So I also put the basement angle. The
There was
basement
an
angle.
orb, but
The basement angle of this moment sounds just like when people come up and down the second floor staircase right there. That
okay.
door on the left.
So you tried to kind of replay it to see where it was coming from.
Yeah, but to me it sounds like someone coming from far away through the parlor and then up the second floor, and you hear it up on the second floor.
And we've had that parlor door open.
Do we know? Do we know if anyone living at the time when it was in operation, or any of the owners, had a limp?
Doesn't it sound like it? Doesn't it sound like?
Yes.
It does.
Yep.
Either that, or it sounds like. Now I can see, and again, Stacey, you have to tell me yes or no, of course. But there is definitely a woman who likes to upkeep and like tidy and do things like that. So it's either sounds like somebody's limping, or it's someone carrying something, and it's like a bigger something, whether it's linen or something. I don't know. and it's just it's weird.
Speaking of pirates, we got a guy with a peg leg walking around. Sounds like.
Well, that's what I was wondering. To me, that's what I picked up on, like a peg leg. Like
that's what it sounds like.
It kind of sounded like it because you got the Susquehanna. It dumps in the Chesapeake. Pirates came up the Susquehanna.
Yeah,
like
we did get a lot. Recently, we've gotten a lot of a sailor being there. A lot of evidence of a sailor. So maybe that's a.
But we get spirits like come and go. I think they, they just pass through.
Yep.
And travel around Columbia.
Yeah, it's a theory that we have.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we think
said
they're still using the Underground Railroad tunnel.
Oh, that's interesting, Christina.
Absolutely. And here, every time we talk about
really
Underground Railroad, I get chills. I have Underground Railroad history in my house. My house is old. And I live right on the other side of the Susquehanna, a little further than Sammy Miller. I'm about air miles. I'm about a half a mile from the Susquehanna. And we have a lot of history here on this side where we have the third basements. I don't know if Columbia has that, like third basements, and there's tunnels actually from the river. They would come up on boats on the river, and they would go into these tunnels and go into people's third basements. There is a pub over here in York Haven, which would probably be right across from like Marietta. I would say more Marietta area. And there's a pub that has a third basement and has a lot of history there. And I've been trying to get in there to investigate, and it's kind of I get okay. And then get pushed back, type of thing. So do you guys have that over there on that side? Like people don't understand this was a hub for the Underground Railroad in this area.
Yeah. I mean, it originated out of the Samuel Miller basement. The guys who founded the Bank and Bridge Company, they owned the bridge. They signed the order to burn the bridge in the lobby, and they were huge abolitionists, worked with Harriet Tubman, and everything kind of was plotted and planned, I think, out of their offices. There.
And we think that, we're trying to confirm whether or not, but we think that these tunnels could have been used for many different things throughout history, other than just, Underground Railroad. So I think there was a lot of energy coming, throughout those tunnels, and I think still is today.
Because there's some mafia history in Columbia too.
Apparently Al Capone.
Oh yeah,
Al Capone. Yeah,
that guy's been everywhere.
Yeah. What dungeon hasn't even left?
Right? I know. He's got his hands in every cookie jar.
Did he get thrown down in the market house?
He did. Yeah, that's a story.
I don't know if my mom is still watching. I know that she was earlier, but this house, this mansion, everything that's tied with everything you were talking about reminds me so clearly of the Snyder farmhouse. And again, I don't know if she is watching. She'll know exactly. Literally to a T, exactly the same style, the same history, the same everything. And it's, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes away from where I live currently. And it's so involved with the history. Now it's a big farmhouse, of course, but okay, so she's there. But it had tied to the Underground Railroad. It was really interesting. The house was technically, it was split because they had the servants' quarters towards the back, and they had the main mansion there. But in between the walls, you had probably, let's see, maybe about like 2.5 to 3.
John, I'm going to interrupt you real quick. I just want to let you know that I have a missing dog. So I'm going to go off camera just for a second.
Okay.
You talk about that.
Damn dog.
Okay.
John, you're saying that in between the walls is 3 feet? Like you could walk and live inside the walls?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So when you went through, and not to, go into too depth with it, you go up the first set of the stairs, and there is this, it looks like a big window frame. And how they made it look as though, like the back half was built on to the house, which wasn't the case. And so when you pushed that open, there was a stairwell that led down straight to the basement of the farmhouse. And it's just so insane. And we didn't know about this. We investigated it from about 2010 to about 2013, and how you guys have the 24/7 surveillance set up. They had that there. Now, it wasn't obviously what you guys are doing, But they got so much evidence from this place.
That's great.
I'd be
And
interested to see what kind of trends they picked up on.
Yeah, for sure.
Because
if
we
I
have a
can
theory with
find the
the shaving
videos.
the haircut. We think, because we get that response all the time, we think that could have been like a secret knock, maybe.
I think that was like to tell you that it was safe to come out of your hiding spot. They would do that.
You know what? I vaguely remember them getting that on EVP. Oh my
No fucking.
See, now we're getting some.
That's insane. So I mean, the unfortunate part is the
Stuff you would never ever pick up on,
yeah.
you know, in a night or a weekend or.
right. They unfortunately don't have access to the house because the gentleman who owned it at the time, he was getting older and he wanted to sell the property, and now they kept the outer shell of it, but they went and redid the whole interior for apartment buildings.
Okay, yeah.
So it's like I haven't been there since they did the renovations, but I'm curious to know how similar it really is. But some of the different
see if we
things.
can see what's going on there nowadays.
Yeah,
that's where you get all that residual just walking through walls stuff because there's a
Right.
hallway there.
Right.
It sounds like another My Haunted location, maybe.
My haunted farmhouse is available.
No, I wish.
Yeah.
I have said to Mom, like, I have been to for me, I've been to West Virginia Penitentiary, I've been to Pennhurst, I've been to all these massive haunted locations. This place so far still takes the cake for most haunted places I've ever been to.
All right, so I need to come up
need their
to you.
contact info.
Yeah, we got.
Yeah, I'm thinking you guys need to check that out because it seems
Yeah.
I heard everything you guys were talking because I have my ears in, and I heard the entire thing, and I just I got chills. And the shave and a haircut thing, like that.
What's your thoughts
comes
on
up a
that,
lot.
Stacey?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was like I have a little obsession with barbers and barbershops and the history of like what they really were. Like they were dentists, they were doctors, they were multifaceted things. And they were a lot of times up front for things. And yeah, I do believe that could be like this private little hand or knock that
right secret knock
is now secret knock that is now not so secret anymore, but
yeah,
we got them figured out.
And that's funny because the Doss house, like you guys have not been out there yet, I don't think. Like the Doss house that one of my sponsors and that would do in the Creep It Real festival, the original owner was a barber, one of the original owners. And so they have he built on to the Doss house his barbershop. So he lived there and then had the barber. So they have a whole they put a chair in there and the barber pole and stuff like that. So
that's really cool.
There's that connection. I just felt that connection. Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
I'm such a geek. I love Sweeney Todd. I was trying not to mention that.
But that's a good idea, you know.
That one.
Places that already have cameras that have activity, you know, trying to reach out and see what kind of activity they get when, you know, is a good idea.
Right.
You know?
Do you guys get anything at 10:30? Would be an interesting question. I love that collaboration.
But let me ask Shauna. She's actually at a concert tonight, so she's not able to be in the comments in the podcast. But I'm going to ask her about that about 10:30. Carmen says something about an SOS. Maybe the knock is an SOS. Is that what you're saying?
Kind of message. Yeah.
Shout out to Carmen. She's a frequent investigator at the manor.
Yep.
Yes.
Love Carmen.
Yes. So,
but you know, we definitely want to expand this project.
Oh, Ron's here.
Hi, Ron.
What's going on, Ron?
Okay.
Los Pedros Duro.
El Matter de Honto.
Love Ron and Lourdes.
Yeah,
they're the best.
I do too.
I would have them every night if we could.
They have hearts of gold.
Just the best people.
And brilliant.
Yeah, the smartest people I've ever met. And not arrogant about it. You know, they're just down to earth.
And then, well, Lourdes, with her being able to pick up all of these, like, because she was a court reporter.
I love that. I love that detail.
All of that,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a perfect
stenographer.
Ron, I need to reschedule you guys. I know we were supposed to do a Thanksgiving podcast, and we all were sick, and we haven't got it rescheduled yet. So
I've been meaning to reach out to them because I was just setting up some episodes for streaming, and there's this new thing with the editing software where you can use AI to listen to the audio and write your closed captions, transcribe all what you're saying into text. So there's portions of the episode with Ron and Lourdes where they're running the digital seance, and the digital AI is picking up on, it's transcribing the closed captions for things we couldn't pick up on in the moment.
And it was making sense.
It tied into what they were saying. So the new episode coming out is going to, on streaming from season 1, it's going to have new closed captions to stuff that we didn't hear. But it's a cool thing I never thought of, is having AI listen to the audio for voices.
I do that I have just a regular voice recorder, like the one that comes standard in your phone, and you can do voice record to text. So I do that sometimes, and I'll put it on.
It's innovative.
And it'll say things that I'm not saying, and I'm like, okay, so I can't take credit for that. Jim Houston showed me that.
That's cool.
It's so smart. Yeah, I like it. That's what we're about.
But I was like, yeah, like that's because it's not one of the apps. It's not one of the stuff. It's just your regular voice recorder that you can put
that's easy
captions on, and so different things come up. That happened at Selma Mansion. A lot of things at Selma Mansion were that way. So
I think something like that increases your evidence more than your average app or necrophonics, or I would put that above.
I do have
something else.
necrophonics, but yeah.
So
Ashley, she says, apparently I need to check this out. Yes, Ashley, because she just sent me, she's coming up. They're staying with me for a couple of days during the bash and other times. And she's like, when I'm up, we need to do boobies. And so Ashley, boobies and them are like maybe 15 minutes apart, 10, 15 minutes apart.
Right.
So we could do
super close.
Maybe make it a whole weekend or something.
I would love that.
Let us know.
A 2-night event.
Yeah. Ashley, I agree. Let us know.
Let me know.
Yeah, John. Yes. I have a huge house too. So John, you are welcome to crash. Like I have a spare bedroom.
Hey, we got cots. What are you talking about? We got cots.
Oh, well, yeah, you can just see what the matter too.
Yeah,
I haven't. I was there was it last weekend? No, weekend before last. I did Penhurst, but then I went and did. We were the guest investigators with Jotniks on the 17th, and we went down and investigated that. And the catacombs are okay, but I'm going to tell you that old bar, the original bar, that is where the energy is at.
Oh, nice.
Like that was.
Everybody's still hanging out there.
When you first go in to the right, is that? I mean, or is there a different bar?
When you go not into the house, or not into the bar. You go into the house, the hotel, and you walk into the doors of the hotel. Yeah, you walk into the doors of the hotel, and to the right of the hotel there's a mirror room. They have all these mirrors around. A lot of activity there because of the mirrors, and then but back to the left is the original bar, where there's the bar, and then there's a room off to the bar where they used to do confessions. The priest would come in to do confessions, and everybody would go to the bar and get drunk.
Oh yeah,
good old boobies.
So,
we love boobies.
Oh yeah, a lot of history there too. Like there's tunnels all underneath there.
Oh yeah, it's all network.
Like I don't think people realize. I wonder because here in York, we were the first capital. Washington was here. Like there were some documents signed here. Like there's all kinds of history here. So they built, like we were supposed to be Washington DC.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm from Maryland, so I say wash. And there's tunnels all wash. Tunnels all underneath everything. I wonder do they go under the Susquehanna and over into Columbia as well?
I don't know if they go under the river. We found something that could be an entrance right by the bridge under the riverside on the banks of the river. But I don't know if it would go under. I think they would have had to get on the train or get on a boat or get across the bridge.
Yeah. If they're really big groundhogs, go under the river.
It'd be amazing. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them, man. And with the guys that were at the manor, running all this, they also owned all the like lumber yards. They owned, you know, a ton of the houses across. So they built these houses with those hidden, you know, I think they had this planned all along, you know, to create the Underground Railroad.
So I'm gonna bring this up. So like the men who built America, the Masons, that type of stuff. Is there any Mason evidence in the manor or around there?
Not so far that we've found.
No, I haven't seen anything about that yet.
Why do you bring? Just because it's prominent in the area?
It is like it's very prominent in this area. Like,
so we haven't found any evidence to that, but no. I wouldn't. I mean, I'm sure
some potential voodoo type stuff with the X's on the doors that seems old and could be something tied to that. But
Stacy, I will just say this almost every time. Do you know what always follows me with different locations, different cases, and everything like that?
Voodoo.
Voodoo.
It does.
Every time. Every time. It's so weird.
Because a lot of people coming from the South and practice voodoo and
there's a lot of voodoo more than you think around here. Yeah,
that's true.
We had some interesting stuff come up recently about Harriet Tubman and her family that is going to be revealed in the next episode too. So
really?
Just potential stuff that some weird things have happened.
Yeah.
So on YouTube, the next episode on YouTube, or are you guys are not on streaming services yet? It's everything's on YouTube, correct?
Everything's on YouTube right now. Yep. So the next episode will be next Sunday. It will be our next episode. I think it's our 6th in season 2. So we're about halfway through our second season. All of season 1 is on YouTube. You guys can check out. And we're just kind of it's nothing is scripted. We kind of are just going with the leads that we find and our historians find, and and using those leads of pieces of history and names in our investigation, and just going down those rabbit holes and seeing what we can find.
There's a lot of rabbit holes around here.
There's a lot.
So Christina, she mentions the quarries, and I'm very familiar with the tunnels and the caves that run under the quarries. That brings me to the subject because I filmed with Haunted Discoveries, and they do a lot of scientific, and they actually brought like some people who study the rock underneath the land. I don't know what they're called, but like something
geologists.
Geologists. There you go. They study the rock in the land, and they talked about how Kentucky has a very heavy quartz deposit. Well, Pennsylvania has a huge quartz deposit. Like you can go on the trails around here, like
Chickies Rock
Ridge and Chickies Rock. Like you
huge
can walk by these huge rocks that are just quartz, like hanging out of it.
And limestone mixed with it, and it's just
it's conduits.
Conduits. They're conduits of energy. And then you have the quarry over here, who is obviously, if you have Native Americans, as a shaman, like Native Americans, and we're trying to mine this land who has so much energy. They're like, no, stop it.
Right.
Leave the land alone. So I think there's a lot of energy over there, right across in Wrightsville with the quarry.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. There's so much so many avenues to go down, and so many different generations and time periods, and I think that's the benefit of just being there for a long time, and just continually digging into more of the story and find more out.
Much more to come.
So, and that's what I appreciate for you guys, because you guys really hit on that history. That's your center. You want to know the history. You want to know the stories. And that's what paranormal investigating is about, is like the stories.
Yeah. Right.
So obviously you guys were kind of born into this. Your mother was an active, I guess, paranormal enthusiast. But before we end the show, tell us stories when you were younger. Did you have an experience when you were younger?
Yeah. Mine's crazy. It was like my first experience that, after seeing what I saw, just kind of, I just always wanted to see it again. I wanted to prove it to myself. But when I was about 8 or 9, I was home from school, and I was kind of an indoor kid. I was wanting to exercise, but I didn't want to go outside. So I just was running up and down the stairs. And we lived in an old townhouse in Wilmington, Delaware, and it's kind of downtown. And as I'm going up the steps, there's a picture of Jesus, as one does, the one where he's just holding his flaming heart in his hands.
Oh, a bleeding heart. That's a bleeding heart Jesus. That's
Mhm.
that's different than a regular Jesus.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What's the bleeding heart?
So it's
creepy. He has a creepy photo. I mean, it's a dark, creepy photo to look at as you're walking up the stairs every night. Yeah, his eyes follow you.
It's like a sect, like an offset of. It's Catholicism, but it's the bleeding heart. It's.
Mhm.
I don't know too much about it, but I have.
It's more. It's bigger with, like, of course, Roman Catholicism. Big with like, for example, when Mom and I went over to Europe, we went to the Basilica in Paris, and that's where the bleeding heart is in the stained glass in the one church that's there.
Mhm.
So it's more prevalent over there, but to have it over here, it's unique. It's different.
Okay.
It is the Sacred Heart of Jesus. It's a representation of Christ's immense love and sacrifice for humanity. So it's kind of like those offshoots, like of any type of religion. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, so I think she still has it.
Yeah.
But as I'm coming up the stairs, I'm looking at this, and I turn, and down the hallway is my parents' room, and I can see a man, late 50s, graying hair, white shirt, black pants, and he's kind of leaning against the windowsill, and there's window blinds, or the curtains are kind of billowing, and I kind of lock eyes with him. And then I just keep turning, and I just go right downstairs, and I look outside and look up. There's nobody there. I finally go back in. Nobody in. Nobody broke in. It's just a crazy experience. And I just been chasing that dragon ever since. I got into video.
Do you know who that was?
I think it was my mom's brother who passed away not long before. She said that she sensed him in the house. And he stayed with us for a little while, and I think it was him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
just checking in, keeping an eye on him.
It wasn't a negative feeling. It was just, did I really see that? Did I? I'm fascinated with it and want to know everything about it.
That's why we do it, right? We chase that feeling and seeing it again, because it's such a weird feeling. When you see something that crazy, it's like your brain just can't process it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You want it to
and
be.
You gotta be like, okay, did I really see this? And let me prove that I saw this by looking at other
exactly.
Right. Yeah. That's all you want. You want to get footage of it and prove to yourself that you saw it. That you're not crazy.
And this is our best odds for getting that. It's just 24/7. Just I want to do this everywhere, as many places as I can,
and bringing in as many people as we can. To bring cameras and recorders.
Yeah. That's the key to it is real people. It's not us having the experiences every time. We're the kind of the mediators of your experience,
Yeah.
Are you any?
Nah, I never really had anything happen to me when I grew up. I was fascinated in it. I do know when I first joined DSGI, the first October Fort season with the public tours, was just like the craziest they've ever had. So it set the bar so high for me. It was like the first or second night I saw a shadow figure walking in the mess hall cafeteria room. And so I was thinking, like, this happens every night. This is unbelievable. And I quickly realized, like, the paranormal is not like that. Most nights are quiet no matter where you are.
Yeah.
You're not going to see a shadow figure
It is.
I wish we could guarantee it, not every night, but.
Yeah, and Ashley says, "Don't you wish you could have had a picture of what you see?" I know. So you don't look crazy, and you can say
it's so clear in my head still to this day. Yeah. It's such a crystal clear image, but so I could show that I'm not.
That's me with the handprint. I was catching that handprint, and then those girls seeing it, like, was such a I got the so much relief over that, knowing that I wasn't crazy.
That whole night, that whole moment is like why the project works, having an experience and it's backed up, and then, evidence review, and they're excited about it. They're, it's just.
Well, that's what happened to me that night. I actually had to leave the manor when I went into the print shop. I had a very physical experience there. And so I had to leave, and I walk outside, and I think Christina, I think it might have been you that were out there with me. And they got me a drink of water, and I was just like calming down, and it was like, but then someone shoved a camera in my face and was like, tell me about your experience. And there, no, it wasn't you. It was a phone camera. It was like, I'm like, well, we're going to record this just in case. So I told my experience, and they're like, you're the third person tonight that had that same experience. And then I was like, it made me feel like I wasn't alone. It made me feel like I'm not crazy.
In the print shop?
I just wasn't in the print shop. I'm like,
The back way, the long hallway part of it? Yeah. I've been chased out of there before. Yeah. Just, I felt like got in my face.
Well, I felt a physical effects of a heart attack is what I felt.
Wow.
Jesus.
and it was or panic or heart attack. And I had to leave. And, I have panic disorders. So sometimes I get panic attacks.
Sure.
So I go out there, and so I don't know for sure if not. But then when I think it was Christina that told me, like, hey, like, you're not the only one that said that tonight. That other people had that same experience. I was like, okay, I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. Not crazy.
Yeah.
And he did the right thing getting out of there.
Yeah. Get out of the area.
Oh, I know. Well, it was my fault. And John, you'll know this. I had done an event all day in Gettysburg where I was doing readings, and I came down to do the event with you guys. And it was our very last, we went all through the house. This is our very last time, our very last center or whatever room we were in. And I felt someone coming through. I got one of my tells, and I'm like, okay, this is a male. He's coming through. He wants to talk. And I started like, okay, I usually say, I'm open to communicating to you, or I'm going to open lines of communication. I was like, no, I was so tired and so exhausted. I said, I'm opening myself up to you. I said, I'm opening myself up to you. And that was the words that I used that he took. And then he showed me what he experienced.
Let me ask you something. Do you say that like in your conscious, or do you say that out loud?
Sometimes, most of the time out loud. Most of the time I'm saying, okay, I'm ready to talk to you. I'm going to open these communications. And I usually say like some chance of protection. But that night I didn't. And that's why, and I know that's why it happened. And it took me 2 days to recover from that.
Man. Yeah, that's definitely a thing. I think more so like a lot of females do get more of the physical kind of feelings like that. And I don't think there's anything bad at the manor though. I don't.
No. It wasn't negative. It was just, here you go. I'm going to show you what I felt.
Right. I died of a heart attack here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I died of a heart attack here. This is how I felt. Please help me. Because I mean, I don't know if you know, I'm a social worker. I'm a therapist. So I'm a helping individual. So a lot of times when I go to these locations, I get people who come to me that want help.
That's really interesting.
So
very empathic, feeling if that's what it was, a heart attack or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Feeling that feeling.
For sure.
I always wish I had a gift like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I mean, we get like spidey senses, but we don't get images or
everybody has some type of psychic ability. So all empathic abilities, seeing things, feeling things, hearing things, that's all psychic intuition. We experience it daily without realizing it. And the best way that I can compare it is that gut feeling that we get. Whenever you're like, I don't know about this, like something in your gut just says either yes or no. That's your intuition. And I think, if you were to really tap into it a little more, I can see you both feeling, and probably honestly being like me and probably Stacy, where it's a seeing and feeling, clairvoyant, clairsentience abilities, tapping into that a little more.
You got to learn how to use it. You ever like thought about somebody and then they called you?
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, that's Claire
that's it.
We have a weird connection where like today we were like, I was texting Trey and he's like, dude, I was just about to text you. I was texting you the same thing.
Yeah. And it was a random, it wasn't like we were in the middle of a conversation. It was like we both
just had an idea.
And it was the same exact thing. And it was a random idea, which is really weird. Yeah, we're definitely
Well, yeah. You guys are biological siblings, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so you have a deeper connection. Like me and my sister, oh my goodness, like it was so funny. Like we would when I was younger in my 20s and you know, we'd go out and she was not a drinker and you know, I drank some and she would like drink soda, but then she would feel drunk because I was drinking.
I've had
But
that.
I'm more of a physical. I feel physically. I like
slap yourself, and she's.
That's probably why you get so tore up.
He's out partying.
Yeah.
So, Ashley, have you ever thought about something and it was almost like it wasn't your thought?
Like Inception.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't think so. Have you?
I can't think of a specific time, but that's a cool question. I got to think about.
And I would say that's how you work on the ability, is to pay attention to questions like these and pay attention and be mindful. Mindfulness is like the biggest key to working on the abilities is, you know, a lot of times we just chalk it up as whatever, and we don't think about it. But start paying attention to those things, because I think you guys do have those abilities.
I've definitely had feelings or thoughts where it feels like I've been here before, like past lives.
That's deja vu. Yep.
Yeah,
Definitely.
for sure.
All that.
For sure that. But yeah,
I mean, you're not at the manor on accident. You're there for a reason.
Yeah,
that's what. Yeah, I think that everything happens for a reason.
Yeah. I have 2 kids, and I feel like there's a connection to the kids' spirits that are there. And I feel like I go in there and I kind of, I like, you know, get down on their level and kind of like greet them. And,
I know.
You know, it's like, I do feel like there is a connection there with the kids. It's weird.
Damn right, Carmen.
Well, parent connection in general, think about that, like your connection to your kids, like that's the definition of psychic, is the connection, the intuitiveness you have with your children. But I did want to highlight this, what Carmen said. Seriously, people gotta come out to the manor. It blows your mind. It really does. It really, really does. Like, I don't know what I was expecting. I do feel like there was a lot of people there. I would like to come in there alone.
Yeah, rent it out.
Just John and I, or just a small group. There was a lot of noise, interference, but
it's a good way to come in and learn about what we do and get your feet wet in it. But I think having a private night, to yourself, where you can just sit and listen, and we can listen and monitor. That's
what I think would be a really interesting experiment, Stacy, and honestly, really anyone. So you have Stacy, who's gifted. You have myself. You have like my mom, who's watching. I get my abilities from her. Having different psychics or different mediums walk in and do walkthroughs and film each one to go and walk through alone. No outside knowledge of the location, no outside experiences of it, and just walking through and just feeling it out, using psychometry, whether they touch the objects or they touch the wall or whatever, and film each one and see what they get and kind of coincide on, okay, this person is feeling this in this room, whereas this person may be feeling a different thing, but how can they be correlated, or how are they different? Like,
I love that.
Have it be a whole experiment sort of thing. I thought that would be, I've always thought that would be a really cool idea to do.
I love that.
Yeah, dude, let's schedule.
I love that idea.
I'm all for it, John.
Yeah,
let's if you got some people you want to round up. So.
It's like a double-edged sword having the show, because it doesn't create a controlled experiment, because we are airing what we're finding and the history and so if you do watch the show, there could be the power of suggestion if you come. We've had people see things that were in last night's episode that I'm not disbelieving it. It's something to keep in consideration.
I think a lot of what this is psychological a lot of the times, and like, for example, the crouching woman that we got, that happened in October, and we didn't air the episode till about a month ago. And from October till that episode aired, no one had reported seeing this thing. And the very next event after that episode, it was like
4 people.
Yeah, 4 or 5 different people saw it. And it's not like we're saying, it's not discrediting it, but could it be something psychological that is out
Yeah,
there?
Well,
there's that subconscious mind
when you
Exactly.
keep putting stuff in,
Right.
Mhm.
It's just something to think about. You know what I mean?
Well, Bobby Mackey's. Think of Bobby Mackey's. Like, how many of the spirits of Bobby Mackey's were actually just kind of created from everybody believing the same thing?
Right.
You know,
And it makes a valid point. I think that, and this is where I come out with a lot of people that go to these different locations, no matter where you go, you bring energy with you. You have loved ones who are on the other side or different attachments, good or bad, that are with you that can affect so many things.
Yeah.
And it's like, is it
So
a
true.
self-made manifested haunting at a location, or is it actually something that's residual or something that's intelligent tied to that location? So you have that
we have all
tools.
that, all of the above.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is it's so hard to pin down what's what.
Yeah, and so many people
Right.
ask, like, do you get more activity when there's more or less people there? And I always say it's about the energy of the people. No matter if it's a
Right.
group of 2 or a group of 15, it depends, on the energy that they're bringing that night.
We had like a packed
It is.
parlor. Everybody's sitting in the parlor listening to a presentation, and somebody had like their hair pulled. Like there's activity no matter how many, and day or night. You know, it's just it's there. I mean, it's definitely residual. It's definitely intelligent, and like you said, I think people bring in things because we get random things come through, and that sailor that we saw just for a couple nights, it was like, was he passing through or was he tied to somebody, or it's just it creates more questions sometimes.
And we're doing
when
different
did when did you pick up on the sailor? Like when did that sailor come through?
Yeah, when was that, Trey?
So the first time was a team called Paranormal Nut. So shout out to them. They have a really good, paranormal show and podcast. And they came out, and the first time they came out, they had a bunch of stuff about a sailor. So that was the first time. The second time they came out, they were in the basement doing solos, and they each took a turn. And the one guy was down there, and he was the last one of the night. It was kind of quiet throughout it. And he said, is the sailor that was here last time still here? And right after he asked that, there's a apparition that we caught that's going to be in a future episode that comes out of the Underground Railroad tunnel. Right after he asked it. And then I think it was just a week or so after that was what was the guy's name? Anthony with Ron and Lourdes. He came in without knowing any of that and picked up on a sailor. And he's kind of a clairvoyant, medium.
It's just something we had never picked up on before.
So was this recent or was this?
Yeah, this is fairly recent.
Fairly recent. I would say like 2 months ago.
Okay, because a sailor follows me.
Really?
And I was there, so I'm not trying to
No way.
kill myself, but a sailor does follow me. I have a sailor, and like we said,
someone drew him, but it's a pretty
my past life. In my past life, I had past life readings, and I was a pirate. I was on a ship, like Outer Banks, North Carolina type of thing. So most likely tied to Blackbeard. So I'm wondering, like, if I was there and I had that experience, did I somehow leave some residual energy of that?
That's
sailor
interesting.
there?
I never thought of that.
Really?
Like
Or was there a
attachment
connection
from a past life?
Or was that connection of sailor connected to something in that, some energy that was already there? So
I know.
Yeah, it's a
That's why
rabbit
I
hole.
asked
It's a rabbit hole. Trying to figure this thing out, but that's the goal. I think
it is, and I love rabbit holes.
make it progress.
So
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Woo Riders, like, thank you. Ron and I have been talking. That's who I've been talking to about doing some stuff in this area. Thank you for your compliment there. And then I think he did say something else. Talking about unfortunately, there's too much competition and people are not supporting each other. So you guys have never felt that from you guys. That's what you guys are doing. You're trying to support other people. You're trying to get them out there. And I think that needs to be our focus going forward with a lot of these things that we're doing, is like, how can we support? John and I, do very well back and forth. We do the same thing, but we've also learned he has a niche, I have a niche, and we can combine them and bring them together.
Right.
Um,
And that's what you want. You want multiple different people with different techniques and
Coming at it from
abilities
different angles.
that
Yeah.
pick up on the
Different
same thing.
backgrounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
It's yeah, when their evidence it correlates, that's when it's really interesting. You know?
That's what you want. And you know, it's such a subjective field. You know, no one knows exactly the right
It
way.
is.
Yet so many people act like they do, and it's their way or the hard way.
Yeah.
I think that's just the wrong way of thinking. So we invite
It is.
everyone to come in, and there's no judgment. And you know, we try to support other teams and
Yeah.
shows and everything.
And we've had a
And-
couple of
and-
teams where we can't have back, you know, just not in it for the right
Mhm.
reasons, and
Right.
you know, just it's not the people, you know, we want to work with people that, you know, are in it
Yeah.
for the right reasons. And I feel like the people that are in it, you know, for the right reasons, I think we all just kind of resonate on the same frequency,
Mhm.
and it's just like you feel it right away. And
Mhm.
yeah,
'Cause
that
it's
those
about
are the people we want.
stories.
Yeah,
It's about
Yeah.
it's
Shout
about
out to
stories in the long
Experibit.
run.
it is.
Experibit's a big team that comes every month.
Yeah.
It's huge supporters of us,
Amazing.
and they're part of the this
So
next episode.
can someone rent the manor out, you know,
Mm-hmm.
for their own private investigation, or do they have to come to a public?
Yeah, so we have, you know, 1 or 2 public monthly events, which, like Jeff said, is a good way to kind of dip your toes into the manor,
Mhm.
feel it out. Or if you're newer to investigating and try to learn, you know, the ropes.
Let's check it out.
But we also do private investigations where you could stay overnight. You know, you got the place to yourself and your team. And all you got to do is email us at myhauntedmanor@gmail.com.
All right, John.
You can,
Let's look at
And
some
you can do
dates.
as little as 5 people, and as many.
so, I mean, you
as
could do,
15.
yeah, we have 3 different tiers. So up to 5 people is 400, up to 10 is 700, and then up to 15 is 900. So you
That's
could
not bad.
go,
You guys have really good prices. I'm going to tell you that right now. Like off the bat, like, you know, I've gone to public investigations where I paid $150. I think I paid $40 for
Mhm,
yours.
Yeah.
times are tough. We want to help people out.
Yeah, we want people to come back, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I think people come and get addicted to it, and you know, see themselves in the show, and it's a good experience. And I think you know, we get a lot of return people that are just want to know more and find out more history. And yeah, hopefully people go to the YouTube and check it out, and then come out. And,
Carmen
see us
says,
in
"How
person."
about just one?" Hello.
Yeah. Carmen's done
Go ahead,
that.
She was the
Carmen.
first.
She was the very first private.
She was the first private.
Yeah,
and
she
it was
did.
her by
I
herself.
think she was telling me about that. She was in there
She
all
is
by
so
herself.
great.
That's respect. I don't know how she did that.
We were watching her at home on her cameras. Like,
She's a brave one.
So our show's coming to an end. John, do you have any other questions? Do you have anything you want to say before we end the show and ask them?
No, I will just say that with the work that you guys have been doing for the past couple of years, it's refreshing is the first word that comes to mind. And I know you probably get thanked a bajillion times, but although I've never been there yet, thank you for doing what you guys are doing, because you know, that sort of thing. Again, I think especially with how the community is right now and how things are kind of, you know, morphing into all sorts of different angles. I think it's really nice that you guys are being very inclusive with everyone and allowing them to have their experience, no matter what their background is, no matter where they come from, no matter what their beliefs are. You're very opening and accepting of, hey, experience whatever you experience. And if you walk away with a memory or you walk away with something that happens, you know, that's really cool. And I think it's really nice you guys give everyone that platform to showcase their own gifts, their own abilities, their own methods, their style. And I think it's just really cool because nobody else does that. So
thanks,
it's
man.
really
That
cool.
means a lot. I really
that's
appreciate
what's so unique about their show. It's like it's very individualized, very personal. Yeah,
it's true. Yeah, every episode is. Yeah, you're the star of every episode. You know, when you come out.
Yeah, really appreciate that, man. We got to get you out there.
Yeah,
we'll have a good time.
No, it's a great energy, and it's fun. You know, just being in the control room, you know, monitoring and talking to them, and you know, they're catching things. And did you hear that? It's just a fun night.
Yeah, it's a dream come true, man. To be working on this with him too, it's just awesome.
And we don't take ourselves too seriously. You know, we're not
none of us do.
super hardcore, edgy. You know, we're just two guys from Delaware.
we started up a Patreon, which is going to show kind of the real Beta Bros side.
Yeah, some behind the scenes,
the craziness.
Yeah,
all the craziness.
You guys don't
Oh, I
know
love that. I love bloopers.
It's gonna have plenty of fun.
We had real life bloopers tonight. Like this is my dog.
Did you find your dog?
Yeah, really. We never got an update on her.
Oh yeah, she's up. She went up to bed.
Okay. That's
She's
hilarious.
passed out. Yeah, John, can I come? Wait, hold on.
She said, "John, can
that's
come
not-
with me. I can
Hey,
replace
ho.
someone else." So there you go.
Yeah, exactly. And she was talking about sleeping in there. So I want to know what room did you sleep in?
Where does she sleep? Kids'
I
room?
think she slept in the parlor.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I want to
Oh, she
say,
slept in the
but
Carmen,
Carmen, you can comment if I got that wrong.
yes. Where did you
It
sleep
depends
at,
on
Carmen?
there's no AC or heat right now. We're working on it. The project is helping renovate and restore the manor, and so we're working on ventilation. But the parlor is usually the most comfortable in the house. Winter or summer.
Yeah.
We have had a few people sleep like up in the servants' quarters, which I don't know how they do it.
Right next to the doll. It's like,
Yeah.
you guys are nuts.
She said parlor. Yeah. Slept in the parlor. Yeah. So I appreciate you guys coming on. This has been wonderful. Like I would love to have you guys on again. We'll talk some more stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe 6 months from now,
Do it.
we'll do some more clips and stuff like that.
Love it.
I think we
That'd
need
be
to
great.
be more attention to what you guys are doing, because this is what it's about. The history, the personal experiences, all of that stuff. This
Yeah.
is what it's about. So
That's what it's been
I
missing.
appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
We appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank
Appreciate
you.
your support. And thank you for having us.
Oh, you're welcome. On a final note, what one piece of advice do you have for people who are either just getting started into investigation or kind of feel lost investigating? What one piece of advice do you have?
Man.
First thing that comes to mind is be open-minded, with everything. Go into it with an open mind, because like I said, none of us really know what's going on. And just don't cast judgment to others, and be a sponge. Learn from everyone you meet, how they investigate, take what you believe and use it.
Yeah. Show your work, debunk everything and show yourself debunking it. And, the nights where you don't catch anything, it's still interesting, and it still shows people that you're doing your due diligence, and you're not leaning into everything as a ghost. And, I think that shows a lot, and a lot of people don't want to do that. They want to, everything's a jump scare, and
Not everything's a demon.
not everything's, you can't get possessed every night.
Only on Wednesdays.
No, but thank you
Oh,
guys.
guys.
Really, really appreciate this. This is
All right.
a blast.
Thank you. Oh, this is wonderful. I've had a good time tonight. Everybody else is saying a great show. Wonderful
Thank
show.
you.
We're getting a lot of good comments on this. So I appreciate you guys. This looks like a relative or a
That's
wife.
her sister.
That's her
sister.
Sister. Okay.
Yeah, she's into this too. She's been at the manor.
Well, you were born into it. You had to be there. And we need to explore that more. You were born into this. Your mother had some sensitivities. So I do think that you guys have some more abilities
more there.
than you are that you do.
We just
are
haven't
not
tapped
either
into it.
letting on or tapping into. Yes.
Yeah, and when we're half the time we're at the manor, we're running around like nuts. We're just
Well, you're
production
organized. I know. I barely got
Right.
to talk to you when I was there. So
Yeah. Trying to run a show, filming everything. It's just it's a rat race.
But yeah, we still try and carve out time to investigate and just sit and quiet and listen. And
Well,
because
just so you know-
I'm there to have that experience. I want to see something, and I want to see it with my own eyes. So it's
Well, just so you know, I'm 20 minutes away if you ever need volunteers. So
anytime.
Appreciate
Yeah.
that. Appreciate
for your
that.
public.
3 hours away, and I would help.
Yeah.
I have a spare bedroom. I have a spare bedroom, John.
Yeah.
Like,
There's a team
20 minutes
Saturday.
away.
We did-
Spare bedroom.
No, we appreciate that.
Yeah.
We do have a great team behind the scenes. Kelsey,
do.
Kelsey and Diana and MJ and Josh and Landon.
Yeah, and then we brought Diamond State. They've come on as running the tours and helping with guest flow and
Very
just logistics
organized.
overnight.
It was very organized when I did the public, because I did like you said, I did the public investigation just to get my feet wet,
Yeah.
just to check out the location and to see, like, oh, is this one that I would like to book or like to come here?
Right. Yeah.
for a longer period of time or something like that. So yes, you guys were very organized. It was I liked it.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate that. Yeah. Shout out to DCI. They're amazing.
And shout
Debbie,
out, real quick, shout out to Daphne Minks out in California, who's doing a lot of music behind the scenes and stuff. So I want to give her a shout out. Thank you, Daphne. Really appreciate it.
yes, and then Debbie, she said next event is June 28th. M2D2 were there. That's the radio station. Debbie and I are good friends. We go to dinner often, which is like,
love Debbie.
yeah,
Makes amazing cookies.
Yeah,
I know, and I didn't get any last time I was there.
They're going within 10 minutes once
Trey, Trey, you ate them all.
Settle for mine.
So John makes cookies too. Debbie makes. I haven't tasted Debbie's cookies yet, but John, I have tasted his cookies, and yeah, they're pretty amazing.
Hey,
cookie awesome at the bash.
We'll find out.
So everybody, where can they find you? Where should people go?
We are on Facebook at My Haunted Manor USA. MyHauntedProject.org is the website where you can find the whole umbrella project, UK and us over here in the US. Or you can go to myhauntedmanor.com. Me and Trey are both on Instagram, Facebook.
Like I said, Jeff and I started this Patreon. It's going to have all behind the scenes, My Haunted Manor stuff. It's going to have a bunch of funny bloopers, raw investigation stuff, just room camera.
Some live feeds. We're working on lives where you can actually tune in and watch some of the cameras live.
Farts, burps, all that.
Yeah, all of it.
Yeah, wouldn't be the Bader brothers without that.
Yeah, we're gonna get Spooky Cam on there. Spooky's a cat that lives at the manor. We put a camera on
I
there.
know. She scared the hell out of me.
She's she does half the work for us.
Yeah.
The ghost can take a night off. She's just running around scaring everybody.
She came jump up and I'm like, where are you? Who are you? So, but thank you guys for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
It's an honor.
Yeah, I really appreciate you guys.
All right, and everybody, please remember, thank you. Like, if you guys weren't here, if you guys weren't commenting, you guys weren't watching, I wouldn't be here. So I appreciate all of you in the comments. All that you have watched, shared, liked, commented, anything you have done tonight. It's all about you. This is why I do this, and I love you all. And please remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. So fill your cup first. Have a good night, everybody.